I got a Mustang back here. Thinks he wants some of the Challenger. See him in the rear view. I don't think he's keeping up. Hello everyone, Mopar Dad 84 here, and today I'm going to be starting on these coil packs, switching out the stock coil packs for the Ripp coil packs. I've had these for a little while. I'm not going to be changing the plugs. I said I was going to do that in another video, but I called Ripp directly and they said that if you're not running the supercharger, not to get the laser iridium plugs. So they said to stick with just the stock or stock equivalent spark plugs. So that's what I'm going to be doing. The spark plugs only got about 36,000 miles on them, so I'm not going to change them. As they said, the gap is different for the supercharger. I don't have the supercharger, so they said to just stick with the stock plugs. So I'd seen that other people were saying like a 20 horse increase if you change the coil packs and the plugs, so that's why I was going to do that. It's a 12 horsepower increase without changing the plugs. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I'm just going to take this intake off camera, as well as just pull this cover off, because what we're really doing the video on is these coil packs. Once I take the cover and the intake off, we'll have access to these coil packs, these three, pretty easily on this side. Okay, so you can see I've already put one of these on. I just wanted to do one off camera, so I was figure it all out and comfortable how putting it in. There's not much to it, of course. I just wanted to do one, take my time with it, not having to try to hold the camera or anything. Pretty simple. Just got one bolt in here, and I'll show you how they go together and everything. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do these three on this side, then remove the intake, and then we'll do the three on the other side. Because this is going to take a little while longer, and I'll have that on video, or at least part of it. I don't want the video to drag on too long. Okay, so I'm going to remove that one there, and then stick in that one that I just put together. And when you're tightening these back down, it's just plastic, so you don't want to go too tight. So you want them to be snug, but definitely don't over tighten anything, because this is just like plastic. This is plastic. You don't want to break anything. So snug it down, don't over tighten it. And you don't have to take this bolt clean out, just to where it's out of the threads there, and then you start to bring this up. Should pop out of there. Just take your time with it, so you don't want to rip. You don't want to rip this boot off of the bottom of here. Yeah, and that's what the stock ones look like. The Ripp coil packs are going to look a lot nicer. Looks like I got a fingerprint on there or something. Yeah, those look nice. So I'm anxious to see what it looks like when they're all on there, and how it performs is the biggest thing. That's what I'm interested in. But the stock ones have a fair amount of heft too, so I guess they weigh about the same. But of course, the aftermarket is touted to have a lot more spark, so create more horsepower, supposed to be better fuel economy. We will see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these other two in, and then we'll resume the video when I'm working on the other side. I'll go ahead and slap this one in while on camera, and then, well, this is the other thing I wanted to show. This, I'm going to have to push this little screw out, because the way it is when it comes, it's already all the way down, and so you can't put this coil pack in until you pull that screw out some. So took the screw out. There's a little seal on there. Pull it out, get it all the way back up to the top, set it in there loosely, line it up, press it in. You're going to hold it down. You get this tightened all the way down so that it seals off well. You want it to seal off all the way. And again, I just wanted to show And I'm not putting very much pressure on here. I want it to be snug. You don't want to over tighten it. Something about like that. See, I'm just pushing on it with my pinky finger and my index finger a little bit. Or ring finger. Pinky finger and ring finger. Not putting a whole lot of pressure on it. They don't need to be super tight. They just need to be tight enough to hold it there and not tight enough to crack the plastics. I'm going to go ahead and install the other one, and then I'll start the video back up as I'm removing the intake manifold. And so this is what it looks like with those 3 on this side. Pretty easy, quick, easy job for this side. I wish it was like that on the other side. Again, to get to the other side, I'm going to have to remove. There's some of the bolts right there. There's 3 of them. There's like 7 or 8 bolts that I got to take out. And this whole section is going to come off. The throttle body, the upper intake manifold, all that will have to come off, and that'll give me access to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and plug these back in. I did remove the negative battery terminal. You should do that first before you do anything else. And then these, so we'll just clip back in like this. Boom. I'm going to go ahead and clip these back on. The removal is just, you can see the little button there. You just push that in and it'll pop right out. Really easy to do on this side. The other side is going to be a different story. It's not really going to be hard, just a little more time consuming. And we got to make sure when we pull this that we cover all the ports on the top. There's going to be holes open on the top when we remove the upper intake manifold. So we got to close all those off. So I'm going to put this other one in. This one seems to be kind of in a bind or something. More room when I take that all out. That one's giving me a little trouble one-handed, so I'll wait until I've got 2 hands to clip that. Popped it off, but there's not much room underneath the throttle body. Of course, when I pull all this off, I have room, but you know, some people will just remove everything before they put some in, but I wanted to go ahead and do this easy side, see how they feel, see how they look. And of course they look awesome under the hood. And I'm excited to, I'll be excited to see how they feel. Because this is the mod I was looking most forward to the whole time, was the coil packs. Should be a big difference. 12 horsepower don't sound like a lot, but just like the throttle body, as I change the throttle body, the feels a lot more than what they're rated at. In a car, if you go up 10 or more horsepower, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice it. And I think the throttle body claimed 14 or something like that, and these claimed 12 horsepower increase. So when I'll come back to it in the morning. It's getting dark. I knew I didn't have much daylight. I'll get back in the morning. We'll pull this off, and we'll do the other 3. Put it back down, and then the next video I'll be giving a review of my thoughts of how the car runs, looks, feels, everything. The look of the coil packs under the hood, which you're mostly only going to be able to see this side because the other side's covered. But basically the feel, if I noticed any more power, if I noticed any more throttle response, any better miles per gallon. And then the video after that will be, I'll try to do some 0 to 60 pulls and see if my 0 to 60 number drops. So as you can see, the upper intake has been removed and just turned to the side. You don't have to take all these hoses off. It's not in any bind or anything. And then without having to remove all this stuff, you don't have to worry about breaking anything. Is the main thing for me, because some of this stuff is kind of on there pretty good. And these hoses, as you know, push up over these fittings. They're really hard to get off without breaking them or ripping or cutting the hose to get it off. So versus doing all that, you know, all them hoses. You can just turn it to the side, and it'll give you plenty of room to get into the spark plugs and coil packs on this side. And then you just remove this little foam thing here out of the way, and boom, you got access to those three. And I will go back and show in the reinstall where everything is and how to take it off. Everything was pretty easy. The only thing that gave me any trouble at all was this bracket in the back. There is a bolt like this back there, and as you can see, the nut didn't come off, the whole stud came out. It's just screwing into aluminum. It's another one of those things, aluminum or plastic. When you put it back, just don't over tighten it, and make sure you're threading in correctly before you put a wrench on it, because you'll strip out the aluminum pretty easily. Same with the plastic. But that bolt there is a 13 millimeter. So that way you know, so you're not running around trying different wrenches, because you can't really see back in there very well. Again, it's way back here. And if you imagine with the intake on there, the intake manifold, you're not going to be able to really see it or really get to it very easily. So that one's a little harder to get to. It's not terrible, but it's not fun either. It is a 13 millimeter. All these other nuts that you got to take off the brackets are 10 millimeters. And there was two right here. 10 millimeters, and then there was two on that bracket that were 10 millimeters. So that's the 4 10 millimeter nuts we got up there. Those have to come off as well before the upper intake will come off. And then there's 7 of these bolts. There's 3 still in the intake that I'll have to push up when I put it back on, but these are 10 millimeter as well. There's 7 of those, so you got 7 of those that are going to come out. And then you've got 4 nuts on these brackets that got to come out, and then the one holding the bracket in the back. You see, I just left the bracket laying in there because it's clipped to a wire or a hose back there, so I just left it. Because I'll just hook it back on when I put the intake back. Now with this, I want to just lay something over there. I brought a clean dish towel. I'll just lay that over there and over them holes so nothing goes in there. Should have already did that. Trying to set the camera somewhere. Yeah, something like that. It's not going to be off very long because it doesn't take that long to do these coil packs. Again, there's just a little button right here. Press down. If I can get it to press. Ouch, it's a little stiff. The other side came right off. There we go. Over here. 2 hands may be needed. There we go. Boom, boom. Take these off. And then again, it's just that little nut there. I can't remember what size that was. I'm melting again. It's hot. I think it's 10 millimeter. It is 10 millimeter. So yeah, those are 10 millimeter. Take that little clip off. Boom, boom, boom. It's pretty easy, pretty quick once you get that intake off. And again, like I said, I'll go through that process with y'all. I just didn't know how long it was going to take me to get it off, so that's why I didn't have the video running. Again, I'm not trying to make the video super long. I just want to make it informative so you know what wrenches to bring, basically what you're getting into, and it's really not that bad. The worst thing again is that bracket back there. That's the hard thing to get to. Bracket is what's hard to get to in the back. That took me the longest. Taking the 7 bolts out of the intake is not that hard, and I just used a ratchet. And some people are using like drills and stuff, but it doesn't take that long. You don't need a drill. You definitely don't want to put it back in with the drill. So just take your time. That's the biggest thing. Again, everything is plastic or aluminum, so you don't want to over tighten anything, strip anything out when you reinstall it. Taking it off is fine with a drill, but you don't really need to. It's not going to take that long. It's stuck in there pretty good. There we go. Well, I also wanted to mention I would suggest keeping all the originals, because if you're like me, I didn't have any problems with the coil packs. There's only 36,000 miles on the vehicle. You see I'm just stacking them over here. I would keep any parts you take off your car, keep them. You may reuse them in the future, or you may just, if you don't think you're going to reuse them, you can sell them. But I kept my original intake, the exhaust parts that I took off. I'm going to be keeping those. It's not going to take up that much shelf space for these things. They're not very big. But it's worthwhile to keep that stuff just in case you ever need it again. You shouldn't have any problems with these coil packs or anything, but if you did, you know, you'd have a backup you could throw in there. If you didn't have money to go purchase more, you could just throw these back in there. Same with, you know, your intake. The intake, I'm, you know, not never going to change, but I still kept the stuff. Same with the exhaust. I'm not never going to change that back to the original. It's too quiet. If anything, I'm going to make it a little louder. I'm not going to make it quieter, but I still keep the parts, because again, everything off this car is like, it was like new. It's only got 36,000 miles, and you know, everything is really clean. You can see, I mean, I didn't try to clean it up or anything at first. And it's clean down in the holes. It's clean all over. The engine's pretty clean. A little bit of dust, but I mean, things like new. So all the parts I'm taking off are like new. So if I wanted to sell them, then I could sell them, you know. But also, you know, if I ever need to use them, say the car's got 100, 150, 200,000 miles or something, I have like new original parts I can put back on it if I want to. Or if you sell it, of course, a lot of people will keep that stuff and, you know, sell it later on down the road. Again, everything's like new on here. So let's see, grab some new ones. Okay, so the coil packs are in, and then you just stick your little foam thing back over there. It just plops right down on there. It's nothing to put back. Make sure you get it stick back like it was. Just drops in there like that, babe. Nothing to it. And then another thing is, if you left a few bolts in it like I did, I left 3 in there. I took 4 of them out, but there's 3 that I left in the intake. You're going to want to push the bolts back up from the bottom all the way to where they're sticking up in, so they're not hanging down out, because if they're sticking down, you're going to run into problems when you're trying to line all that up. So just make sure you push the bolts back up so they're not sticking down out of the bottom, or it's going to give you problems. So we're going to try to turn it and line it back up. Shouldn't be no big deal. Again, it's not in any bind the way it's sitting, so it should line up pretty easily, and I think we're already lined up. Let's see. Oh wait, we're not lined up because I didn't stick those through that bracket. So first thing, you're gonna have to line up those studs that are sticking out with those brackets, those metal brackets, which I had lined up. Now it's not lining up. I'm gonna have to line those up, then it'll drop in place. Pretty easy. I'm paranoid, so I'm gonna pull it up again. Make sure none of those, because there's seals in each of those holes, and yeah, they shouldn't move. They didn't move, so I'm just a paranoid person. Make sure nothing moved. Slide it in again, and that's it. Pretty easy going back. Overall, like I said, the whole process is pretty easy. You don't need to be really worried about it. The seals that I was just being paranoid about they're really not gonna move. But same thing when I did the throttle body, I was real finicky about the seal, make sure it was sealed right, didn't move. Because when I pulled the throttle body off, when I did the throttle body, the seal came out with it. So, but in this scenario, all the seals stayed in place perfectly. They kind of clip in pretty good. So that went down pretty easy. And again, those are 8mm. So I gotta find what I did with my 8mm socket. Right now there's a 10mm on there for that bracket in the back. So this is the bracket here. You can't really, that one you're gonna have to feel for with your hand. As you can see, you can't really see back in there very well. So I can barely see now. And then, you know, it's just, there's 2 studs sticking out, and it's on the studs. Boom, boom. And then you can see this little hole. This just clips back into it. There's also a wire that you have to, you can't see, I'm sorry. There's a wire that once you get this stud in, once you get this threaded back in, there's a wire that it's got a clip that just slides over the end of the bolt and holds it in place. And then you just got with this wire, and then you just got to hook up your other wires as well as put all your bolts back in. But that's it. It's not too bad. Again, as you can see why I'm saying this is the worst thing of the whole job, is trying to get back in here where you can't really see and feel for that bolt and that nut. And when you're taking off, the nut might come off. I'm thinking it's probably just gonna screw out like, nah, it looks like it's made. It looks like it's made to come out like it did. So it's gonna come out basically just like this. Thread it back into the engine block, aluminum. So make sure you line it up correctly and don't cross thread it. And it doesn't have to be super tight because it's aluminum. It'll strip out and break, you know, well, not break so much, but it'll strip out easy like the plastic. Not as easy as the plastic, but I try not to over tighten that stuff. But pretty much it. You see this is all the way down. I'm just gonna put the bolts back in, and because I mean that's pretty straightforward. Just put everything back where you took bolts out. There's one here, one here, one here, one here. Then there's one here, one here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one back here. It's one of the ones that I had pushed up. So there's just 7 in this. So if you got 7, if you loosen 7 in here, and you've got them up out of the threads on the bottom, then you've done all this. Then you just got to get the 2 nuts on these brackets. There's 2 nuts on that bracket back there. Plus, you're gonna have to take this one out so you can loosen the whole bracket. Once you loosen that whole bracket, you can shift it to the side, so that way when you pick this up, you can pull it out this way. And when you stick it in, that's why I had to stick it through those bracket holes. The stud's got to go in there first, and then you can set the rest of it down. Just make sure you're in place right, which you'll know if you're not because the bolts won't go in. Just take your time, and it's really not nothing too hard. So as you can see, she's all put back together. One dilemma I have is whether I want to put the cover back on or not. I see a lot of people leave the cover off. I'm debating on whether to leave it off now. I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to just leave the cover with it. I like the look of the cover, okay, you know. I don't care that it says V6. Some people try to take it off because I want to fool somebody into thinking it's a V8 or something. I'm not like that. I don't care. I tell people it's a V6. Like I've said in other videos, I'm proud of the fact that it's a V6 because of the performance it has for a V6, the fuel economy, cheap insurance. It's the way to go, in my opinion. Unless you got a lot of money. If you got a lot of money, sure. If I had a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie, I would go for a Hellcat or a Scat Pack, you know, something like that. But if you're not loaded, the V6 is the way to go. So I want to see, you know, this is what it looks like, you know, without the cover. I'm gonna throw the cover on real quick. Y'all, if you would leave comments down in the comments, tell me whether you think I should leave the cover off or keep the cover on. I mean, think it looks a little bit more proper with the cover on, but the biggest reason why I'm debating about taking it off is it's rubbing right here, as you can see, and it's also rubbing on my BBK throttle body. So you can see this right here, it's rubbing on there as well. So for those couple reasons, I'm debating whether to leave it off or not. I don't know. Leave your thoughts down in the comment if you would. Which you think would look better. I don't really care. Like I said, I think it looks a little more proper with it on, but I don't like that it's doing these things. You know, these are nice new parts that I put on there that I don't want scuffed up like that. Of course, with it off, you can see a little bit more of the intake. You maybe can see the Ripp Coil packs a little better. And those, of course, look really nice. But, of course, on this side, you can't see them anyways. Might be able to see a little bit of the color. No, you can't see nothing. You can't see them at all. So, you're going to see them on that one side anyway. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start her up. And I'll just lay the camera down here somewhere. Start her up. And see how she sounds in here. Find a spot to put the camera that's going to stay. Can't see the engine at all there. We'll just put it right there. And we'll start her up. Oh wait, we're not starting anything up because I didn't hook the battery back up. So we'll hook the battery up and then we'll start her up. Okay, now I've got the battery hooked up, so now we'll start the car. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the relearn process for my throttle body because I don't know if that has to be done every single time the battery isn't hooked or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And that's just simply 3 pedal pushes on the throttle, on the gas pedal, holding it down on the 3rd press until it starts blinking. And then you're done. And you shut it back off. Yeah, that's what the key and run. Then we put on the brake, start her up. Radio off. Start it on. Sounds pretty good. I'll let her idle for a little bit. Get used to that higher spark. So again, leave me some tell me in the comments what you think, if I should leave the cover on or leave the cover off. I'm thinking about leaving it off, just because, mostly because of this, and basically all because of that. Because I mean, you can still see the coil packs even with the cover on. You can only see this side anyways. Those do look beautiful. It's really nice. A lot better than them black ones that just blend in. That lets you know that the thing's not stock. This isn't stock. This isn't stock. This isn't stock. The exhaust isn't. But that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Again, be on the lookout for my video. My next video is gonna be my review, what I think of the part overall. So far, seems great. We'll see how it runs, see if my mile per gallon increases. They also claim that it'll increase the mile per gallon. Obviously, you're looking for a performance increase, 12 horsepower increase they talk about. And then after that, again, 0 to 60 pulse. So like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Mopar Dad 84 out.